can we just talk about this for a minute? Okay, so I didn't know so many of the stories in the Bible because I struggled to read it for so long on my own. And they didn't teach you so many of the things when you were like a little thing. So they would teach you the classic stories like Jesus resurrecting, the lion's den, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, David and Goliath, like all those things. But then you don't know the stories in between. And there's some tea, there's some drama that goes on, and it's actually really entertaining. So, today, that's what I'm going to be sharing with you guys. So, today is for our Bible talk, we'll be describing Jacob. And Jacob is the grandson of Abraham, and Jacob's dad was Isaac. So, that's for the backstory. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and get straight into it because this goes from Genesis chapter 25 to 35. Although we're gonna skip 26 because that's mostly talking about Isaac. So yeah, we start off with the classic story of Jacob and Esau being born like they were twins. Okay, but while Jacob's mother was pregnant, her name was Rebecca, and she got a prophecy from God saying that Jacob was going to overpower Esau and he was going to rule over Esau. So automatically off the bat, I think that's kind of where some of her favoritism comes in. That's me personally. Because like if I was told this, I probably wouldn't favoritize my sons. But hello. any hoodle. So moving on, the sons are born and they get their names for the certain reasons. If you're interested in that, go look at it, and I highly suggest you to read this yourself. So they're born, and later on in life, it really goes straight from them being born to the first scandal happening. Okay, so what happens is Esau is the older brother, and he's the one who goes out and hunts. He's the classic older brother. You're probably brooding male. And Jacob's the one who stays at home. He cooks with Rebecca. And yeah, so Rebecca already loves Jacob. That's her favorite son. That's her boy. I'm sure she loves Esau too, just not to that level. So one day, Esau is out and he is hunting and he is exhausted. By the time he comes back, he's tired. He probably kind of knows how to cook, but he really does not want to at this point. But Jacob already has this bowl of soup that he made. It might not have been soup, it might have been stew. Yes. So Jacob sees this as an opportunity. So Jacob says, I will give you the stew, because Esau's like begging him for stew. He literally says, give me the red stuff. I'm about to die. And Jacob goes, yeah, okay, I'll give it to you if you sell me your birthright. What? Jacob! So basically, the birthright is kind of like your inheritance, and it would go to the first son, and it's like leadership, property, where you rank in the family. And all of that would go to Esau. That was already his because he was the firstborn son. So right now, Jacob wants it. And so, since Esau is so tired and starving, he's like, dude, I'm about to die. Just give me the food. But they end up making this deal. And at the moment, Esau doesn't mind that he just stole his God-given right. Divine right. Going into that. But later on, he gets really mad about it. And honestly, both of them are a little bit to blame here. So, yeah. And then the next scandal happens, which is where Rebecca comes in more. So, she knows that, actually, everyone knows that Isaac, their father, is about to die. Like, he's getting old, his eyesight's leaving him. So he knows that it's his time to bless Esau, and like give him his inheritance because he needs to bless him while he's still alive. It's basically like their legal version of giving them their inheritance. So he tells Esau, go out, go hunt, make me some stew, bring it back to me, and then I'll give you your blessing. So that's exactly what Esau does. He's going out and hunting. But now Rebecca is seeing this as her opportunity to get her favorite son higher on the hierarchy to fulfill, it might have been to fulfill God's prophecy, but that would have happened on its own anyway. Moving on. So Rebecca tells Jacob, go get some sheep and I will make a stew that your father loves and we'll give it to him and you will be the one to accept the blessing since Isaac can't see you anyway. He's not going to be able to tell. Jacob's like, yeah, he will. I'm not hairy like Esau is. So Rebecca tells him, okay, it's fine. I'll cut off the hair of the sheep and we'll put it on your arms. So this is what they do. But at first, Jacob is a bit hesitant and he's like, my father's going to know and I will dishonor him and I will dishonor our family. She's like, no, you are fine. You're perfectly fine. I will take the guilt. I will take the blame. So they end up going with this plan. So Rebecca makes the stew while, oh my gosh, Jacob put on the hair and then he put on Esau's clothes and therefore he also smelled like Esau. So they end up doing this plan and Isaac at first isn't quite sure if it's him because he can tell with his voice that's not Esau's voice. But then he feels his arms. He's like, oh, that's you. That's my son. Oh, you also smell like my son. This is you. Okay, so he ends up blessing Jacob in Esau's place. But he doesn't know this until Esau comes back. Because Esau comes back pretty later. He makes the soup. He goes to his father. And they're figuring out what just happened. But Esau's mad now. And he's like, wait, what? Wait, do you have anything left for me? Can you still bless me? Can I get something? And Jacob's like, not Jacob, I'm so sorry. Isaac is saying, I just gave Jacob everything. There is nothing left for me to give you. I just gave him leadership. I gave him servants. I gave him all the land. I gave him blessings from God. There's nothing left for me to give you. So now Jacob has pretty angered Esau pretty well. And this doesn't quite make sense to me because Esau already sold his birthright to Jacob. So this is making me think, did they tell their parents about this? Did they know? Did we really have to go through this scandal since your birthright is what you would get with that blessing? The blessing just solidified it. So did we have to go through all this manipulation? And also, Esau, you willingly sold your birthright to Jacob. So this really confuses me. And yeah, if anyone has any answers to this, let me hear your opinions. Okay, so moving on. Esau is so mad at Jacob right now, he's threatening to kill him, and he's mad, and he's angry. At the same time, he also comes home with a wife that his parents don't like. And Rebecca is talking about how she does not like this wife. They're causing him trouble, her trouble. So Isaac now has to tell Jacob, hey, don't marry anyone else but a Canaanite. I think it was a Canaanite. Yeah, marry no. Do not marry a Canaanite girl. Instead, let me quote this. Hold on. Go at once to Pandaram, I think. The house of Bethuel, your mother's father. Marry one of the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. Oh, it's giving that one song by Sabrina Carpenter. One of her first hits. Yeah, but then he's like, may the Lord bless you, may be fruitful, and multiply. So this is exactly what Jacob goes out to do, and he's going to go marry one of them. That's his plan. And Esau overhears this. He's salty too, and so he decides to go marry another wife. He already has multiple at this point because it says wives plural. In addition to wives plural, he went and got another wife. Wait. Her name was Mahalath. Hold on. Mahalath, daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son. So they're all in the same family. Because remember, Abraham is Esau's grandfather. Isaac is in between them. So that's where we're standing at this point. So yeah, Jacob goes to Bethel and he's on his way and he's going to find this family. And I like this chapter because he gets a beautiful vision from God from where he is. He goes to bed, and I want to read this because this is pretty to me. Well, not pretty, but I like it. The Lord was standing there beside him. Ooh, that was a little later. Sorry. And he dreamed. A stairway was set on the ground with its tops reaching the sky, and the God's angels were going up and down it. We see this later on, or something similar, and I'm imagining it in my head, and it's really pretty. The Lord was standing there beside him, saying, I am the Lord, the God your father, Abraham, the God of Isaac. I will give you and your offspring the land on which you are lying. Your offspring will be like the dust of the earth, and you will spread out toward the west, the east, the north, and the south. All the peoples on the earth will be blessed through you and your offspring. Look, I am with you, and I will watch over you wherever you go. I will bring you back to this land, for I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. And if any of you are wondering, I read from the CSB, Christian Standard Bible, because this is my study Bible that I got from church, and I love it. So yeah, he gets this vision from God, and he makes an altar there, and he marks where he was, and he knows to come back here. So Jacob continues on his journey, and he stops at this well and meets these men at a well. And then they have this little discussion. Hey, where are you from? Oh, I'm from this land that you're going. Oh, do you know this person? Yes, we do. And then they talk about Rachel. This is where she comes on the scene. So Rachel is coming around because she's a shepherdess, so she's shepherding a flock right now. And I like to assume that Jacob fell hard at first. And we will see why. This is his soon-to-be beloved wife, Rachel. Not very soon, but yeah. So, it literally says that, then Jacob kissed Rachel and wept loudly. So, this is a thing that we see throughout, like how the families kiss each other, or if you're just going to greet someone, like the kissing thing, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I think he kind of fell hard at first, but he was letting them know I'm related. Hey, I am. How is he related to her? I am your father's relative. So she took him to Laban, her father, and he stayed with Laban and the family for about a month, and he was still working with them. And Laban is over here like, I don't like that you're working for me for no wages. You're doing well and you're working for me for the past month, but I haven't given you anything. So what can I give you? And he goes, I want Rachel. I will work for you for 7 years if I can have Rachel as my wife. Ugh, hold on. And Laban agrees to this. So Jacob does do the work for 7 years, and he's good at it, and the Lord is blessing him through this. So this is really sweet. So Jacob worked 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed like only a few days to him because of his love for her. Guys, come on. Okay. Anyway, it's the sweetest thing to me. But, okay, so at the end of the 7 years, Laban is not planning on giving Rachel to Jacob. So instead, on their wedding night, I think like there must be a completely different culture going on here and how weddings work, because it says here that on that night, instead of giving Rachel to Jacob, he doesn't know this until the morning. Laban gives his older daughter, Leah, to him, and they sleep together. So Jacob doesn't know until after the fact, and Leah's just thrown into the mix. And now Jacob is like, what did you just do to me? Why did you do this? I just worked for you for 7 years. Why did you just disgrace me like this? What? And he tells him it's not in our culture to get the younger daughter married first. So you got Leah. But I will tell you, if you go through the week of marriage celebrations, I will give you Rachel. And then you have to work for me for another 7 years. But out of his love for Rachel, he does agree to it. So he works for the 7 years, and he gets Rachel after the first week of the marriage celebration, and then he does the 7 years of work. So he fell hard, okay? And I can only feel so bad for Leah because she was just thrown in this mix. And now it's talking about how she was pretty neglected. Like, I can only imagine how she's pushed aside. He doesn't really care for her that much. He doesn't love her like he loves Rachel. And I think she would be able to tell, even from that month before anything happened. So she's like praying to God at this point, and God grants her with the greatest honor a woman could have at the time, which is giving her a son. And so she's overjoyed, and she's like, surely my husband will love me now. That's literally what she says, and it's so sad. But he doesn't. She ends up having 4 sons at this point. They're not twins, they're not quadruplets, they just one after the other. And with each passing son, she's like, surely he'll love me now. He doesn't. She's still neglected. But Rachel is not able to have kids right now. And she's mad at this. And so she goes to Jacob saying, give me sons or I will die. And now Jacob is like, I can't do anything. Why are you talking to me like I'm God? I don't have the power to give you a child. Sure, I help with it, but I don't have the power. And so Rachel, she pulls a Sarah, and she gives her maid to Abraham to vicariously have a family through, because she thinks that her servant Bilhah, I think that's how you pronounce it, will have sons, and she can vicariously have those sons with Abraham and start a family. And now Bilhah is thrown into the mix. But Abraham does end up marrying Bilhah as well, and she does have a son. Bilhah does have a son, and it works. And Rachel is over the moon. She's like, finally, oh my Lord. Thank you, Lord. I'm trying to see if she had 1 or 2 sons. She's heard me. So she had Dan, and a second son. And so at this point, Bilhah has had 2 sons, and they technically, in Rachel's mind, belong to Rachel since Bilhah does. And I can't even imagine, like, you have a son with Jacob, and then your son has to go to your mistress. 2 of them. Like, that's so insane to me. But she also says here how she was wrestling with God, and she wrestled with her sister, and she won. This is Rachel, because I think she knows that Jacob prefers her. So at this point, now that she has sons, she's given the honor. She has sons. She's given the honor, and now Jacob will love her even more, and I'm sure he does. So Leah sees this, and she stopped having kids at this point. But she's had 4 already, but she stopped having kids. So now she gives her maid to Jacob. I keep wanting to say Abraham. It's Jacob. My goodness. So she gives her maid Zilpah. I can never pronounce these names. to Jacob. And of course, Zilpah does have a son. I am so sorry if I'm pronouncing her name wrong. So she does have a son, and Leah is very happy by this, and I think she does have two sons. Um, and I really wonder if Jacob had the option to say no to taking Zilpha, because if he did, why did he say yes if he wasn't in favor of Leah? It's a whole mess. Like, it's a mess. So yeah, they have their sons, and I think at this point, yeah, this is a few years down the line. Rachel, her first son is named Reuben. I think that's how you pronounce it. That's how I'm gonna pronounce it. So Reuben is out in the harvest, and he brings his harvest to his mother Leah. Oh, sorry, Leah's first son is Reuben. Rachel's has not had a son yet. So Rachel goes to Leah and's like, "Can my sons have your son's mandrakes, which are the things that they picked in that harvest?" And she's like, "You have taken my husband already. You are not going to take my son's mandrakes." Ooh, 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 Leah. she got some anger here, and it's understandable as to why she's so angry. Like, I get it. Then Rachel's like, "Well, okay. Can I have the mandrakes if you sleep with Jacob tonight?" At this point, they're just shoveling Jacob around. So Leah takes the deal. They give some of the mandrakes, and she tells Jacob about this, so Jacob sleeps with Leah that night. And that night is when Leah becomes pregnant with another son that she has. And she's very happy with this. And then she has again another son. So at this point, she's had 6 at this point, not including her maid sons. These are hers that she's bore on her own. So Leah has 6 sons at this point, and then she has a daughter named Dinah. She'll come into play more later. And Rachel over here still hasn't had any kids. But she finally has a son, and she is over the moon. Like, this is her own son, and her son she names Joseph. Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat, that the brothers sent him to Egypt. It makes so much more sense to me as to why he was the favorite kid, because Rachel, I think, was dead by then. And so this was a little bit of Rachel that he had left, and it was her first son, like her first actual son. So it makes sense as to why this was Jacob's favorite kid, and Jacob was the favorite growing up, well, at least for his mother. And he had a favorite wife. This trend just keeps going on. But they never tell you this growing up, so this made so much more sense to me. And good Lord. Okay, so what do we got next? If I found favor with you. So at this point, Jacob goes to Laban and he's like, "Can I go home now?" Basically, like, "I've served you well. I have done good for you. Can I go home?" And Laban, he's grown to like Jacob, and he also sees that the Lord has blessed him vicariously through Jacob, because Jacob's been doing so good. His crops have been doing well. His flocks are good. So he wants Jacob to stay. And so he says, "What can I give you? What wages can I give you to stay?" And Jacob's over here like, "I have what I need." But here's where yet another scandal comes in. Well, not really a scandal, but like... So, what he says is, "Give me all of your spotted, your speckled, your dark fur," or it's not fur that sheep have. I don't know. "Give me all of your unpure sheep and your lambs out of your flock." So there, when you come to check up on your wages, you'll see if I've stolen any of yours because they won't be purely white. So that's what they do. And after he gets the sheep, Laban goes on like a journey for about 3 days, and that's when Jacob hatches a plan. He sees this bark, and so he takes off the bark of a stick, and that's leaving the white part inside. So he puts the white part in this trough that the sheep are drinking out of, and he notices that the sheep will mate with each other after they go to the trough, and when they mate with each other, those sheep come out speckled and spotted. And I think he tested this on the white sheep that belonged to Laban. Excuse me, sorry. So therefore, when he sees the stronger sheep that Laban has, he'll do this trick where he'll take off the bark, he'll put it in the water trough, and then the sheep will breed to be spotted and speckled and dark, not fur, it's not skin either. You know what I'm talking about. And then they will look like they belong to Jacob, and so he gets more of the stronger sheep, and then he'll just give normal water to the weaker sheep. And so Jacob becomes very rich off of this tactic and this trick. And Laban's sons see this, and they're talking about it. Like, they see that Jacob's become rich over what Laban has had. I don't think they like that very much. So Laban, I think, figures this trick out, and his attitude changes towards Jacob. Like, Jacob can visually see how his face changes when he's around Jacob now. So Jacob decides to get Leah and Rachel in a field, and he wants to leave. He needs to tell them, we need to go. He says, I've been honorable to your father. I've done work well, but I can see how his attitude has changed towards me, and we need to leave. We need to go. And also how God has come to him saying, go back home. Because I am your God. I'm the God of Abraham. Listen to me. I have seen how Laban has treated you. You need to go home. So like, okay, I will. And Leah and Rachel are over here like, do we get any of our father's inheritance since he sold us to you for a price? Of the working for 7 years, he sold us to you, so will we get any of that? But you know what? I don't think we do. So do what God has told you to do and take us with you. So, well, Laban doesn't know, Jacob is preparing to take his children and his wives, and they're going to leave. And they do. They leave. They get out. But on the third day, Laban figures this out, and he takes all of his relatives and he goes to find them. And they do. They find them. They overtake them. And Laban's over here like, why'd you leave? Why'd you deceive me? I would have sent you home with lyres and music and joy. Why'd you have to deceive me? Why'd you have to leave? I didn't even get to say bye to my daughters and my grandchildren. But you know what? The Lord told me to not say anything good or bad to you, so I won't. Which he technically is because he's talking to him. But he also asked, but why'd you steal my gods? And Jacob's confused. But what he doesn't know is that while they were packing to leave, Rachel took one of the idols that belonged to her father and she took it with them. So now that's what Laban is after. So Jacob doesn't know this, of course. So he says, okay, go ahead, search the place, and whoever has it, kill him. Kill him right in front of all of our relatives. Go for it. So Laban goes ahead and he searches the camp. But Rachel, she knows what's going on. But she also knows that Jacob doesn't know. So she hides the idol in a camel's saddlebag and she sits on it. And then when her father comes in the room, she says, I'm sorry, I can't come up to greet you, my lord, because I'm on my period. Clever use of the period. I guess there are some perks to it. So her father doesn't make her get up because he knows what that is. So he leaves the room, and now Jacob's like, "What have I done? I have no crime against you. I have not sinned." And Laban is ready to make a covenant with him, which is basically like a bit basically like signing a document with an agreement, and they do it in front of the Lord. So they agreed to do it, and Laban says, "Let God be between the two of you, and if you mistreat my daughters or take other wives, though no one is with us, understand that God will be a witness between you and me." I was like, okay, I get that. And they make this deal, and they made a sacrifice, and that's basically how they ended it. And go them, really. And they ended peacefully, and the bond went back home. But wait, you thought Noah was on his tail anymore? Wrong. We still have Esau from like 20 years ago, who probably still has a grudge against Jacob, and he knows he's gonna pass by Esau on his way home. So he sends these servants to go send a message to Esau. And I guess this is his way of apologizing to him, because he says it multiple times. He refers to Esau as my lord. This is basically like my master. I'm your servant, yada yada. Ooh. My voice is hoarse, Lord. Okay. So he also says in a note he's writing to Esau, "I have oxen, I have donkeys, I have flocks, I have servants. I'm prepared to give these to you as a gift." Because he wants to appease Esau right now, because he has a feeling he's still angry with him. So when the servants come back after delivering the message, oh boy, they tell Jacob that Esau has 400 men with him when they go to meet. Oh, and now Jacob is really scared. I would be too. Like, that's terrifying, especially since he's like this brooding guy who would be the hunter, and Jacob was the one who would stay in the kitchen and cook soup. Oh, that's scary. That's scary. And plus, Jacob and everyone can't move that quickly because they have a lot with them. They have all the flocks, they have the donkeys, and a lot of people, and probably some stuff with them too. So it would be hard to move. Yeah, they're too numerous to be split up. So he decides to split the camp up in two and have them go separate ways. That way, if Esau came and attacked one camp, the other camp could go escape. So he decides this, and then that night before he goes to meet Esau, he's up late, and he ends up wrestling with a man all night. And he's wrestling on the side until daybreak. And then this man goes, "Let me go, for it's daybreak." And that was right after he, like, what did he do? He struck Jacob's hip socket as they wrestled, and it dislocated his hip. It was because he couldn't see a way of getting out. He could, but... So Jacob responds, "Well, I will not let go until you bless me." I really want more context on this. Like, I want to know what Jacob was thinking and when he realized who this man was. Because I don't know if he knows yet. He might. He also might. So then the man asks for Jacob's name. Jacob tells him, and he goes, "And your name will no longer be Jacob, it'll be Israel." And then Jacob asked the man, "What's your name?" And he goes, "Why do you ask my name?" And he leaves. Oh, it's such a cliffhanger moment. That happens so many times. And then Jacob knows who this is. And he says, "I have seen God face to face, and yet he has spared my life." God has his reasonings for this. And I like how my Bible has this. There are little footnotes at the bottom kind of explaining things. And something I liked was that though Jacob limped away an unexpected struggle, his newly divinely given name, Israel, indicated that he struggled with God and prevailed, growing spiritually in the process. God could have just ended him really quickly. He could have stopped that fight really quickly. But he had his reasons for the fight anyway. And it grew Jacob spiritually, and that's amazing, honestly. So he goes back limping, and he's now stronger. Okay, so Jacob is now getting ready to meet Esau. Oh, this scary moment. So he puts the people that he has with him in a line. Not a line, but kind of a clustered line, really. So at first he puts the slaves and their children, like his slave wives that his wives gave to him, Leah and her children, and then Rachel and Joseph. And then he went around them and was going to meet Esau face to face. And he was bowing to Esau, like he bowed 7 times. And he was approaching his brother. But this is so sweet, the way Esau came around. Esau ran to meet him, hugged him, threw his arms around him, kissed him, and then they wept. Ugh! It's such a sweet way to reunite with your brother, especially after the fear that he's gonna hate me, he's gonna kill me, he's gonna beat me up. But this happened, and it was really sweet. And he's asking, why were you sending me all these things? Why were you sending me gifts and flocks and servants? And then Jacob's like, I was trying to appease you. I was scared. He's like, there's no need. I have everything I need. You are fine. And Jacob goes, no, please. If I have found favor with you, take this gift from me. For indeed, I have seen your face, and it's like seeing God's face since you have accepted me. And honestly, the way they reunite is so sweet, and I love it. I literally wrote in my Bible when I highlighted one of these verses, I wrote, "Aww." So yeah, they went home together, and they accepted each other. So now they're on their way home, and Jacob says, my children are kind of weary right now. Can we stay back? I will follow you. You go ahead. They're a little hesitant at first, but then he accepts. And they stop in this land. And this is where some stuff happens. And I want to put a warning out for anyone who this is like, I'm going to say the word once, maybe twice, and like we're going to move on. But if you don't want to listen to what I'm about to say, probably go here. So, yeah, here we go. So, Leah's daughter, Dinah, she was in the land, and then this guy, I think his name, where is his name? Shechem. He's basically like a prince here with how much power he has, and how high he is in the hierarchy, I guess. So he saw her, he took her, and he raped her. What is it? But then it's talking about how he became infatuated with Dinah. He loved the young girl and spoke tenderly to her. That doesn't make up for the fact that you just really disrespected her. So that's the first case of that in this, I'm pretty sure. So Jacob finds out about this, and Shechem's father, what's his name? It starts with an H. Hamor. We're gonna say Hamor. So Hamor is going to Jacob to discuss like if they can be married, because that's what Shechem wants. And Jacob, he's furious about what just happened because he knows, but he also knows he can't overcome Hamor because when he's alone and his sons weren't with him at the moment. But then when his sons come back, they hear about what happened. Whoo, they are mad. Like, these are the same guys who sent Joseph away to Egypt because he was the favorite kid, and they threw him in a well. This is the same group of guys. So they're scary when they're together, and they're mad. So, yeah, they're discussing it, and the brothers are in on this conversation as well. And they tell Hamor, we can't do this because your men aren't circumcised. I'm not going to describe what that is here. If you want to know, go look it up. So they say, okay, if you circumcise each one of your men in this town, we'll agree to your agreement, which is letting our families marry each other, giving you Dinah, and all the things. We'll live with you, yada yada. So of course they agree, and with their power, they make this happen. And on the third day, like, all these men are still in pain. So that's when the brothers go with their swords and they kill each one of the men in the city, including Hamor and Shechem. So after that, they end up taking their flocks, their herds, their donkeys, I think their women, and their possessions. And they do all these things. And keep in mind, they didn't talk to God about this. God did not tell them to do this. They just did it because they were mad. And then Jacob's going to Simon and Levi, who are some of the sons, and they're saying, why'd you do this? You just you disgraced me. And this is what they answer by. Should he treat our sister like a prostitute? Fair, but you don't go killing a whole city. Like, they were unexpected. They were probably unarmed. They were in pain. So it was like a good opportunity to strike, but you shouldn't have been striking them in the first place. But it's a long chain of blame and guilt and yada yada. So God is now going to Jacob, and he tells him, get up, go back to Bethel and settle there. Build an altar there. And so he does that. He goes, and he tells his family, get rid of your foreign gods, change your clothes, purify yourselves. And so they do. And they end up doing all these things. And shortly after, Rachel ends up dying in childbirth with her last son. Her second son, Benjamin. She only had two. And then, in his grief, Jacob ended up making a tomb for her, and he marked it. And it says it in the Bible. It is a marker at Rachel's grave, and it is still there today. I looked it up, and it's apparently still there today. This might be inaccurate, but that's cool. The fact that it is actually still there is so cool to me. So, at the end, Jacob and Esau end up going home, and their father Isaac dies, and they end up burying him. So, thankfully that ended, I guess, well. It ended on 2 deaths, but thankfully Esau didn't just take his opportunities and kill Jacob. They ended up being brothers again. So that was my take on that, and I would love to do more of these. So I love you guys.